Welcome to today's Explainer. We've got a truly fascinating intersection of artificial intelligence, theoretical physics, and, well, human stubbornness to unpack today. If you've ever stopped to wonder about the absolute limits of what AI can understand, or maybe more importantly, what it absolutely refuses to understand, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to be stepping through a rather provocative set of ideas today regarding exactly how we and our machines process brand new information. So here is the big question right up front. Can an artificial intelligence ever truly present us with something entirely new if its foundation is built strictly on the past? To explore this really interesting central paradox, our source material takes us to the YouTube channel of S.J.vanStekelenburg. It's a channel where this curious physicist uses an AI tool you might know, NotebookLM, to summarize and explain a book titled New Perspective. Now, the whole intention of these videos is to communicate the concepts from this specific book. But as you'll see, using an AI to explain groundbreaking or paradigm-shifting ideas creates a highly specific and very modern kind of friction. Okay, let's dive into this comparison. The explicit goal of the book, New Perspective, is to present 100% novel, totally unpolluted ideas. That's on the left side of our equation. But then on the right, we have the reality of the AI's training. The source notes that NotebookLM is trained on a vast amount of current knowledge. Because of this, when the AI generates a video, it inevitably infuses that existing, current state-of-the-art knowledge right into its output. It acts as this unavoidable filter. And according to the text, this actually makes it seem utterly impossible to represent 100% of the book's pure wisdom in a video format generated by this AI. It's like trying to pour pure water through a coffee filter that's already been used. The source goes on to assert that there is always some level of interpretation being done by the AI, constantly contextualizing things in light of what is already considered state-of-the-art. The AI necessarily puts words into the video that it's been trained on, words and concepts that are completely, literally absent from the original book. The author of our source text describes this as a situation where new knowledge is actively challenged by the AI's default programming. It's an inevitable process, sure, but the source describes it pretty neutrally as unfortunate and entirely unwanted when your goal is the pure, unadulterated communication of fresh ideas.
Moving right along to Section 1, Questioning Established Physics.
Let's get specific for a second to really ground this. The source text brings up fundamental mathematical words, number, infinity, and continuity. Now, the book New Perspective actually attempts to raise fundamental doubts about these very concepts. However, because established definitions for these terms already exist out there in the scientific consensus, the AI just processes them as if those existing definitions are perfectly correct. It's a closed case to the AI. Its training essentially overrides the book's attempt to question the foundational math, acting as a massive barrier to the exact doubt the book is trying to introduce. Let's take this a step further into physics. Think about this. What happens to physics when humans make distinctions? The source points out that humans frequently use distinctions in physics without ever pausing to ask this exact question. And the text suggests that if we actually stop to consider the consequences of our own human-made distinctions, we might arrive at a pretty startling conclusion, that the universe itself does not actually need these distinctions to function at all. And this brilliantly illustrates the logical end point of the argument. It is a massive, highly provocative claim from the source material. General relativity and quantum mechanics might very well say absolutely nothing about the actual universe. Instead, they might only be telling us a whole lot about how humans perceive the universe. Just take a second to let that sink in. It's a profound thought. Are we studying reality itself, or are we just studying the human lens we've placed over reality? Which brings us to Section 2, Resisting the Paradigm Shift. So why exactly does the AI default to the status quo? Well, because we humans designed it that way, reflecting our own deepest behavioral biases. The source text outlines an overarching critique of human nature here. It says humans desperately want their knowledge to be usable. Furthermore, we strongly dislike being challenged. And the text makes a very specific, pointed note here. Humans especially resist being challenged when they make money off of that existing knowledge. Profit and immediate utility, according to the source, act as these massive, immovable roadblocks to genuine paradigm shifts. If you look back historically, there is a clear, repeating pattern to this resistance. When faced with truly new knowledge, how do humans usually react? Well, the source claims we ignore and avoid questions that threaten our comfortable status quo. We defend our established domains using emotions rather than pure logic. And most strikingly, the text asserts that humans will literally hide behind words like science and knowledge to shut down debate, all without actually employing the rigorous scientific method to evaluate the new, challenging ideas. It's a defensive mechanism, pure and simple. And finally, Section 3, the cost to science. The ultimate consequence of all this is a massive self-imposed blind spot. Because we are so fiercely protective of our status quo and our comfortable, usable knowledge, incredibly important questions are routinely ignored. Or even worse, the environment becomes so rigid that these fundamental questions are simply not allowed to be raised in the first place. The inquiry is effectively shut down before it even begins. So the absolutely crucial point here is this, quote, "This will make humans lose a lot of time because we constantly filter new wisdom through the rigid lens of past achievements, whether we do it manually through our own historical stubbornness or automatically through cutting-edge tools like NotebookLM, we stall our own progress." The source explicitly warns that by ignoring these threatening questions, humanity is actively ensuring a massive delay in our collective pursuit of scientific truth.
We are going to end on this final provocative thought today. Based on everything our source material has walked us through, from an AI hallucinating old definitions into a new book, all the way to the idea that quantum mechanics might just be a mirror of human perception, we really have to ask ourselves a difficult question. Is our deep desire for comfortable, usable knowledge actually the very thing holding back our true understanding of the universe? It's a brilliant question to ponder, and it certainly leaves us looking at both our shiny new AI tools and our most established science in a completely different light. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the knowledge around you.